Courage. Just after midnight, hundreds of Allied planes flew into enemy territory. Planes were being hit with German gunfire, while men with parachutes prepared to jump. And that's one of the guys jumping there. The full moon and sparks from Nazi bullets provided the only light as 13,000 soldiers courageously jumped into the night sky. The battle was on. Oh, hey, good to see you guys. Hey, Anna, how about if we finish this book a little later? I'm going to visit with these folks about my book, okay? Thanks, sweetie. Welcome. I'm glad you could be here. I'm excited to talk to you about my book, D-Day, American Character. This book was a dream come true for me, and really came up with this idea for the book along with my good friend Christopher Nitt. Chris and I have dreamed up a lot of ideas, and he's an artist, so he is always coming up with ideas. And we were dreaming up the idea of teaching patriotism to our children. I've written a lot of things and worked with kids in a lot of ways in the past. One of the things I love to do is teach about character and encourage children to live with character. And I'd written a few things and shown them to Chris, and Chris told me that his dream was to paint pictures of the World War II veterans, or when they were in action in World War II. And we thought about what better way to teach kids about character than to show them real live examples from these World War II heroes, the greatest generation. And we know of them, people my generation, and we know of them a lot of times firsthand from people we knew, parents, grandparents, or aunts and uncles who served during World War II. But this next generation, they're not able to hear those stories firsthand. So we want to pass on the great character and the great stories of our American history. And so this is the beginning of that with D-Day, American Character. And so what we do here is we wrote a book. I wrote the story, and Chris tells the story with his wonderful illustrations that goes through different character traits that were demonstrated by our veterans. Each page is a different character trait, from responsibility to perseverance, hard work, courage, bravery, and ultimately sacrifice. And as you walk through each character trait, children are able to learn the story, the great American story of what our soldiers did to preserve freedom around the world in World War II. So this is the first of something we hope might be an opportunity to teach children about character through different great Americans from our past. And we're real excited to share D-Day American Character with others, and I'm just honored to have written it. One of the things, as I was growing up, my dad, he didn't serve full time in the military. He was in the reserves, but he always instilled a great thankfulness for those who served in me and in our family. He would tell me stories of his uncle who was in World War II. He had a great respect for our American military and the work that they do around the world. So although I've never served myself, I've had a great appreciation for those who have. And really, in a way, writing this was the way that I could honor them and show them respect in regard to the fact that I've never served in the military, but I'm so appreciative because I recognize the freedoms that we get to experience today are because of the sacrifice of those who've served. So we tell specifically the story of D-Day, June 6, 1944, because of the great impact that day had in the war. But we hope that every veteran is honored by this book, and we hope that every child in the future of America will be encouraged by that character demonstrated to those guys. So that's kind of a little bit of the background of how Chris and I, good friends, had a dream, and what we did was we're able to see that dream fulfilled. And so we're very thankful for the opportunity. And I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the book and how I wrote it and some of the ideas as we did that. But maybe we can do that in my study, where I spent most of the time on the computer or jotting down notes on paper. Maybe we can go in there and I can tell you a little bit more. Well, this is my study where I like to spend a lot of time whenever I can. It's hopefully where I get a little bit creative. But let me tell you a little bit about myself first. I'm Steve Lessman. And I have grown up in Oklahoma, lived here my entire life. Grew up in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, lived in Norman and Stillwater, and I've been here in Yukon, Oklahoma, where we are now, for the last 19 years. And so as we sit here in my study, one thing that if you walk in my study you'll learn is that I like old things, and that is I like history. And that's shown by trying to maybe collect some antiques or finding things, more than just valuable antiques. I like things that are meaningful. We have a lot of things that we keep from our family that's been passed down. Let me show you a couple things that we have. Up here, my wife's grandfather collected trains and had a great train set, and so we just kind of have a few of his things displayed that he passed on to us. And over here you see that one of the things I like is sports, and I have a lot of vintage sports memorabilia and equipment. Those are just some of the things that I love. In fact, one of my dreams and hopes is to write some children's books about sports. I've written a few things, and even like to teach character through sports is something that I have in my future plans. So anyway, so that's a little bit about me and my family. You saw my daughter Anna, who's 10 years old, and I have a daughter Grace, who's 13, and Garrett is my son, who's 16, as well as my wife Stacy. We're glad to be here in Yukon. We're really proud to be Oklahomans. So this book, D-Day American Character, as I mentioned, Chris and I had this dream, and we're so excited to see it fulfilled. The reason that I'm really excited about it is it gives me an opportunity to pass on to children 3 things that are real important to me. And as I mentioned, it's about character. And I want to challenge kids today, children of today, to live with character. I think it's something that teachers and adults, we want to pass that on to our kids. And so hopefully this will do that in a way that sparks their interest and again gives them an example of character to follow. The other thing is we want to honor our veterans and instill patriotism into the next generation. It seems like something that we might be losing in this country today is patriotism, and we want to bring that back. We want this next generation to understand what a great country we live in, and how it's due to those who've gone on before them, and honor the veterans. And thirdly, I love to go and talk to kids and children about being creative, using their imaginations and their minds to write. When I was a kid, I didn't like to write. I thought it was just assignments, something I had to do, and I tried to get them done and turn them in and forget about it. But it was when I was in college, and an English professor that I had at college really encouraged us to write about our past and write about ourselves and about our history. Is when I realized I love writing this. These are things that are inside me that I can put down on paper, and sometimes other people read them, sometimes they don't, but it was such a great way for me to express myself, and I realized that I love to write. And so I want to encourage kids to use their creativity to write about things they love, write about experiences they've had, write about things they've learned, write about things that are going on in their minds and imaginations, and fun, creative ideas that they come up with. Whatever it is, I want to encourage them to use that and express it, and maybe one day other people will be able to read what they've been writing about, and they'll be able to have a book published. But I really love to encourage kids to use who they are, who God has made them, and express that through writing. So that's 3 of the things I'm really excited about, to go out and share with children, to share with students in regard to teaching character, instilling patriotism, and encouraging creativity. So let me tell you a little bit more just about the process of having a book published. It was not easy, and spent a lot of time here at my computer taking the idea that Chris and I had of World War II and teaching character. And again, we chose specifically the day of June 6, 1944, D-Day, as it was such a vital day in World War II history. One thing that I've learned is a lot of kids know June 6, 1944. A lot of teenagers may know that. They've answered it on a test possibly, but do they really understand the passion, the heart, the sacrifice, the courage that went into that? And that's what we hope in a short children's book, that we're able to at least help them see the big picture of those character traits and the big picture of the event that went on and what a vital event it was in the history of our country. Volumes have been written on D-Day. There are books and books and books, and I've read a number of them in preparation for this book. Some of them so thick I couldn't read them all. There's also many videos and stories that I've watched in preparation, learning and learning individual stories, learning the strategy behind that, and just the whole picture of World War II. Such a big event to tell. So how do you turn it into a children's book? That was one of the challenges. One thing that I've always felt that I can do is take complicated things and make them simple. I think I need them to be simplified often, so I'm able to take complicated events and truths or different things and just simplify them down to what do we really need to know? What is the key basic principle or truths that we need out of this event or this story? And so I was able to work at cutting back and making this incredible story, this incredible event, shortened and simplified enough that a child can understand it. Yet as many teenagers have read it, they'll then turn to me and say, oh, now I understand what D-Day was. In fact, I've had some adults say that, because oftentimes maybe history just passes right over us and we don't even fully grasp or comprehend. So that was a big part of putting this book on paper and putting it on the computer. I spent a lot of time. I have lots of notes. I scribbled and files full of rough drafts, different things that I write and scribble and throw away. And it was a fun, challenging, interesting process to see it go from little ideas in the mind to notes on a piece of paper to becoming a book. One of the things that throughout it I always was having to condense, because it started off about 5 times longer than it is, and we knew we needed to shorten it, but yet trying to shorten it but keep the vital information in there, and we think we were able to do that, and we're real excited about that. So once it was done, let's see, let me think for a minute. Chris and I came up with this idea 5 years ago probably. Talked about it for years. He was doing sketches. Finally I committed that I need to get all these little notes and get a manuscript done. And so we didn't have a publisher, but he wanted to have a few sketches done. I wanted to have the manuscript complete. And it was during that time that I was finishing the manuscript, Chris came into contact with a publisher through another piece of art that he had done for a book. And he told him the idea. He was very excited about it. He's an Oklahoma publisher himself, and he's a retired military man, and he was thrilled with the idea of passing on this heritage and this story to children. And so after a lot of time and a lot of hoping for a publisher, we were able to meet Doug Dollar and New Forms Press and get this book published. So we were real excited about that. It's been a great challenge and a great adventure, and we're excited to share it with you and with others and with the children of this country and the future generation. So we're looking forward to it. So what's next? I hope there's some future books in the works. There's many things I've been working on, a lot of notes and rough drafts I have. One of our hopes is to continue the tradition of American character and teaching character by the example of great Americans. So I've got a few that we're working on, maybe past presidents or past leaders in our country. Hope even maybe something that the ladies would like down the road, and possibly even some more military stories and experiences. But there's a lot of resources to choose from when thinking of the American character that has been demonstrated through the years. So we're hoping for more books and in this series of American character. What else is, Chris and I have a website, AmericanCharacterClub.com. And it's right now there's some information about this book on there and just some encouragement for kids to live with character. But we have some ideas and some hopes for that website in the future in regards to just really making a generation of kids who says, yes, I'm in the club of being a an American who's going to live with character. And so in the next few months, we hope to see that even develop more, and opportunities for kids and creative things and stories that they can read there on AmericanCharacterClub.com. So we're excited about that. Most of all, what I hope is to have opportunities to come speak with students. I'm here in Oklahoma and hope for opportunities here and anywhere where we can go and just share the story of our veterans and the character they displayed, and really challenge and encourage kids to follow that example, as well as encourage them to follow their dreams and to live and to write and be creative, express their creativity. And so those are the things that I hope to come to your school and share that with tomorrow's future, and that's the kids of today. And they are the future of this country, and so we hope in some small way we can encourage them. Chris as well is available, and Chris and I would love to even come together to a school and share and talk about our book and talk about our hopes for this country and for children. So we're looking forward to it. Hope to see you down the road, and let us know. I'm on the OCAI website, and so come visit that and get in contact with me, because I'd love to be in touch with you and have a chance to come meet you and your students. Thanks a bunch.